What we need is local control.
Tom King.
Sometimes we expect great things.
Christian Arcand.
Things can't always work out the way we expect.
Christian and King. ESPN New Hampshire Radio. Streaming live on ESPNNewHampshire.com. Christian and King. Here's Christian Arcand and Tom King.
They played better game today than they did probably in Boston. I'm sure they're going to talk about that. But at the same time, again, I got to talk about our team, and our team just wasn't good enough at the start to give ourselves a chance here.
Subban lets the puck for Banks. Defenseman pinch. Why can you do that? Because you know you have support behind you, and what a heads-up play by Thomas Bannock.
When you look at the goals that were scored tonight, the biggest thing was a lack of awareness of where they were on the ice.
He's over. Subban's back on. Subban scores! First move. Subban comes out, turns his feet. Right there, he bites. Now it's an empty net. Puck comes to the other side. Lazarus with his shot. Blocked by Mike Weaver. Luis in
You don't want to be down every third period. I mean, you want to be going into the third period with the lead and can't be shooting ourselves in the foot right off the hop.
Hour number 2 here, Christian and King, ESPN New Hampshire. We're streaming live on the ESPN radio app and ESPNNewHampshire.com. We're going to be joined now for the first time by a journalist, Montreal. This is the first time we've done this, King. We've never had a Montreal writer on before.
That's right.
This is the first time we've done this. Seems like a good guy. I read some of his tweets. I'm a big fan of his website. Him and this guy named Mark Dumont have this website called Eyes on the Prize, HabsEyesOnThePrize.com. He is the managing editor of it, and he joins us right now. Andrew Berkshire here joins us on Christian and King. Andrew, hello. Thanks for coming on today.
Well, thanks for having me on, and I'm honored that I'm the first Montreal writers that you guys have on. That's quite impressive.
I had to really talk him into it.
Everybody else turned us down.
Oh, yeah, that's what I figured. I was going to say.
Well, you got to be feeling good today. Again, your Habs come out, get a quick 2-goal lead, and that's 3 games in a row now that they've been able to do this. I guess what's the feeling up there? Because down here, everybody's starting to think, what is wrong with this team? Why can't they get it going in the first 2 periods? What are the Montreal Canadiens doing in these first 2 periods in order to jump out to these leads, in your opinion?
I think it's just cashing on chances. It's not like the Bruins are playing poorly. Carey Price has just been so good. It seems like the only way that they can beat him is to get deflections and, high shots that are screened, and the chances of getting those are fairly low, even for a team as good as the Bruins. Like Patrice Bergeron's goal last night was one of the most beautiful deflections I've ever seen. It was just gorgeous, but the chances of actually getting that to go every game are very low. So the Bruins have to find a way to get Price off of his game in order to win, and he's just so zoned in right now. It's unbelievable. Whereas Tuukka Rask he's struggling like he has always against the Canadiens.
How would you explain the fast starts by Montreal in all 3 games?
Oh, I just don't know, because the Bruins have been outplaying them. It's just a matter of Montreal just seems to get these great chances early in games, and they've been getting through and scoring on them. I thought as much as I thought Boston actually outplayed Montreal on the whole last night.
Right.
They didn't have any chances as good as Montreal's 3 goals. It's a problem, especially when you've got Douglas Murray on the ice. You've got to be able to exploit him a little bit better than they did.
Yeah, Murray out there was having a lot of time clearing the puck out, it certainly seemed like. Andrew, are you surprised at how well Carey Price has played? Because I know going into the playoffs, there were a lot of questions about him and coming back from the injury and how well he was moving laterally and all these things, but it seems like he is really, really focused.
I'm a little bit surprised after the Tampa Bay series because he struggled, and there were rumors that the tendonitis in his knee was acting up. But at the same time, he's just such a good goaltender, and I think that he's proved this season that he's worthy to be talked about in the same circles as Tuukka Rask and the other great goaltenders in the league, guys like Henrik Lundqvist. His performance in the Olympics was just otherworldly. As great as the defense was around him, nobody really expected a 97% save percentage, and that you're playing against the best players in the world. Even if you have the best players in the world defending for you, the game against the United States, he had zero margin for error, and he didn't make an error.
Right.
And that's just been Carey Price this season.
2-1 lead. How confident are people up there right now in the as far as the rest of the series is concerned?
I think most fans are just kind of, holding on to their seats saying, please let the good luck keep going. Because, like I said, all 3 games, the Bruins have been the better team as far as, generating chances and getting shots on goal. The Canadians just need to keep on riding this luck wave, and they've been improving every game, so you kind of hope as a Canadians fan that they continue that trend and maybe they can actually, play the Bruins even in the next game. We'll see what happens. I don't think anybody's super confident right now, but they're kind of hoping that usual Canadians-Bruins dynamic plays out where the Bruins start to get a little bit unhinged and take bad penalties. It's a 50-50 shot, I think, right now.
Have you seen PK Subban take over a series the way he has before? The way he has
Not
in this
like
one?
this.
Yeah.
No. I'm a huge fan of PK Subban, the player, and PK Subban, the person. I've always been a big booster of his as one of the best players in the NHL. But this series is unbelievable. And for him to be able to do it after the adversity after game 1, all those taunts that were sent at him on social media, and, just the distraction of it alone. Right. And then to come back and play the 2 games that he has, I just have so much respect for the guy. His play last night after the penalty, which I think could be called arguable, if they would have called it elbowing when he hit Riley Smith, I don't think anybody would have really questioned it.
I thought it was going to be elbowing. I didn't think it'd be roughing.
Yeah, that's the thing, right?
Yeah.
Calling it roughing just looks like you didn't see the play and you thought, oh, guy got hit hard, so I'm going to call it.
Yep.
I've never seen an open ice hit called roughing. But yeah, his response to that, getting the breakaway and then scoring the goal, I was at the Bell Center last night and the place exploded. And it's just the control he has over the crowd is equal to the control he has over the game right now.
Not quite equal to the control he had as he knocked the goalpost off at Stanchion in the last 10 seconds right there. Any comment on that one and why no penalty shot was awarded?
Well, I think that kind of call, if the ref were to call a penalty shot, it would be a bigger controversy than if he didn't call it.
Maybe, yeah.
So those kinds of guys, they always have that in mind. And I think in that play, as much as personally, I think Subban, he cut that corner tight enough that he might have, made it look accidental that he hit the post. He didn't shove it off. It hit his shoulder. So it's a really tough call for any referee to make.
I
it
thought
was
so,
a veteran move.
Yeah.
It was probably on purpose, but the ref doesn't know, and that
I don't
call
know.
is so much about intent. So
Yeah, the rule says deliberate. I didn't think it was. I thought he cut the corner so sharply that I don't think he, and he was reaching for the puck at the same time. I didn't think it was deliberate in my mind when I saw the replay. But
yeah, and he has done it before too, where he's been going for the puck behind the net, and he just runs right into the post and falls down.
I think what you got to do to get a penalty shot in that situation is you've got to skate over, bend down, pick the net up, and lift it off the mooring,
and then hold up a sign saying I, PK Subban, am
did
removing
it. Right, exactly.
Right.
I think that's in Montreal to get a penalty shot on that play. That's what you got to do.
More or less, yeah, I'd say so. We're joined by Andrew Berkshire here, the managing editor of HabsEyesOnThePrize.com, which is a very fine Canadians blog. I especially like your all-time worst Bruins bracket. I think that was very, very funny. I don't know, was that you mostly, or was that the other guy?
That was Mark and I coming up with that. We have a little chat room set up for the editors of our site, and we came up with it in a brainstorm. Actually, in the first round, when we thought that there was a good chance we would face Boston, we kind of came up with it and laughed about it. My favorite part about it was putting Bobby Orr in one of the greatest divers. But unfortunately, our readers got offended by it.
They did, really?
Habs fans, they're all about the history, right? So like,
Sure.
you guys can make fun of the Bruins, but don't make fun of Bobby Orr. And it's like, okay, guys, I get it.
Awesome.
You got to go after the sacred cows once in a while.
Wow, no kidding. I know
I can't believe it.
It's a good thing you didn't go after Dryden or Belleville or one of those guys.
Yeah,
Good
right?
Lord. They would have been doubly upset. Listen, how upset were the Canadians after they lost Game 2 with a 3-1 lead going into the third period? I mean, they could have folded up to 10 after that and just said, and been, distracted by blowing that lead. Instead, they came out and played a strong, got an early jump again in Game 3. But what was the attitude after they came back to Montreal, tied 1-1?
From what I can tell, they were surprisingly unrattled, which is something that, the Canadiens haven't been the most mentally tough team over the last couple of years.
Mm-hmm.
They've had trouble dealing with injuries and had trouble dealing with adversity. But for some reason, this team, especially around the midpoint of the season, or not the midpoint, but after the Olympics, when they came back against Ottawa down 4-1, and they scored 3 goals in about 3 minutes and then won it in overtime, ever since then, they seem to just not be rattled by anything. And that really played in, I think, to this series. They're just not afraid of Boston. They know that Boston's considered the better team, but they're just not worried about it. They're just going and playing. Maybe it's, not having the weight of expectations on them.
Yeah, that certainly could have something to do with it. I think also part of it has to do with the fact that, we're looking at some guys on this Montreal team who really haven't done anything yet. Most of the forwards not named Plekanec, you haven't seen them do anything. Pacioretty, Vanek's had a couple of tip-ins here, but, Pacioretty, he hasn't shown up yet. Are you thinking that some of these guys are like right on the verge of busting out here? Are they in slumps, or how concerned should Bruins fans be that someone like Max Pacioretty is a game away from just exploding here?
I would say it's a concern, but at the same time, Boston has guys like David Krejci who haven't burst out, or Brad Marchand. The thing about Pacioretty is that for some reason in this series, I know part of it is that Boston's got Chara on him, and Chara's just a fantastic defenseman. But Pacioretty hasn't been himself. Whether he's injured, I don't know. I don't want to make excuses for him. He's just not playing his game. He's not driving in from the wing and getting shots on goal. His shot attempts are way down. His scoring chances are way down. I don't know if he's due to break out at all. I think he has to put together some good games before anybody could say that. Whereas Brad Marchand, at least, he's getting chances and doing his regular Brad Marchand rat tricks. So I'd be worried about Brad Marchand going forward.
Yeah. Who have you been the most surprised by in Montreal on that roster so far? I don't think Subban was any surprise. I don't think Carey Price playing well was a big surprise. Who surprised you the most, I guess?
I would say it's a combination of Lars Eller and Rene Bourque.
Okay.
Bourque hasn't been as good the last 2 games, but he's also had the flu. Lars Eller had a terrible, terrible season, and part of it was due to playing with poor line mates for most of the year. Part of it was confusing usage by the coach. But ever since he was given Brian Gionta on one wing, about maybe 15 games left in the season, it seemed like he realized he had a winger with him who could carry some of the defensive weight, a guy who he could trust passing to in the defensive zone. And ever since then, he's been getting gradually better, and he's been crazy good in the playoffs. I thought that his play on the empty net goal last night, where he beat Milan Lucic to the puck and then outskated Bartowski, was fantastic. And his setup for Subban's goal was just as good.
You mentioned the coach, Michel Therrien. The Canadiens have had several upheavals in the front office and coaching staffs over the years. And to the point now where Therrien is back for a second tour of duty with this team as its head coach. What has he provided anything for this team in terms of getting them on track this year and the way that he's coached in these playoffs, or is it basically throw the puck out and let things go?
From the regular season, I would probably say that he hadn't contributed that much. Mm-hmm. But I think the thing with Therrien is that a lot of people miss what exactly he does well as a coach. I think that he's a very good personal coach now, whereas he was terrible earlier in his career. Mm-hmm. He's a good motivator, but he isn't very good tactically.
Right.
And that's part of the reason why the Bruins have owned the puck for most of the series, is that Claude Julien is a fantastic tactical coach.
Yep. And
Michel Therrien just can't match him there. He has done some good things tactically, finally splitting Vanek and Pacioretty out so that Chara can't, shut down the only major scoring threat line was a good decision. Mm-hmm. But again, you're throwing in Douglas Murray after he hasn't played in a month against the best team in the East, and he's too slow to catch any of the forwards. It's risky business. I'm just not prepared to say he's been great yet.
Okay.
We're talking with Andrew Berkshire of HabsEyesOnThePrize.com. Andrew, I think the biggest surprise to Bruins fans and probably Montreal fans alike last night was the fact that there were only 2 whistles the entire game at the Bell Center in the first game between the Bruins and the Canadiens on Canadian soil. I think everybody was expecting, especially with those two refs, there to be a lot more of that. Were you surprised by that, and do you think it'll be called that way going forward?
I was a little surprised by it, but at the same time, the Bruins and Claude Julien have been lobbying for this kind of game since the series started, or even since the playoffs started against Detroit.
Yeah.
It seems like every post-game conference and every in-between periods interview, someone on the Bruins is saying, the calls are against us, the refs are against us, and Claude Julien saying we put up with a lot of crap today and this day, and it's always complaining about something. And, that's part of the playoffs, but it seems like it's an A1 Bruins strategy. I was kind of surprised by it. I was surprised that Boston media seemed to be upset with the choice of the officials, considering Chris Rooney's from South Boston.
Everybody hates Chris Rooney here. That's the thing.
Yeah,
Everybody
he calls
he
a lot
goes
of
out of
things
his
against the
way.
Bruins.
He goes out of his way not to be like a Bruins homer, and I think and that's just the thought I get here. In South Boston, you say Chris Rooney's name, people spit on the sidewalk.
I don't get that. I mean, I don't understand that. I don't understand why the National Hockey League assigns a ref from that team's locale when in a playoff game. When you look at it two different ways. Yeah, you could call it in favor of the team, or you could go out of his way to not try to appear that way and call it more against his team. And I think that when you put a ref in that situation,
But think of all the Canadian refs, though.
but it's a bad spot to put a guy in.
I understand what you guys are saying from an optics standpoint,
Yep.
and I actually looked into it after. I don't know if you heard about Ron McLean on the CBC up here questioning the choice of French-Canadian refs officiating Game 4 in Montreal against Tampa Bay.
Okay.
But
no.
I went into it and looked into it, and it turned out that the Canadians had a home ice advantage in power plays of 50.7% of all power plays being in their favor, whereas the league average was 51.9%, so a little bit higher than Montreal's over the last 5 seasons. But while French refs were in Montreal only got 50.5%. So it's within that margin of error where it's basically the same. So I think for the most part, fans just don't like refs. And, you always have confirmation bias, but for the most part, they do their jobs. Whether or not it's well, that could be argued. I think a lot of them are fairly bad, specifically guys like Chris Lee and Tim Peel. But for the most part, I don't think there's much bias.
All right, Andrew, looking ahead now, and heaven forbid over on this side, the Montreal advances, do you think that this is a good enough team to win the Stanley Cup this year?
Ooh, no, I don't think so. The West is so strong. I think Chicago and LA, whoever wins that third-round series, which I'm guessing is going to happen, is going to end up winning the Cup, unless they destroy each other and Boston gets to the final. But I don't think outside of Boston, anybody in the East has the depth and, stick-to-itiveness to beat a Western team at this point.
Okay, then we'll go this way. Who do you think wins this series?
Ooh, that's tough. I think at this point, if Boston had won last night, especially if they'd come back on that 2-goal lead, it's Boston in 5. But Montreal's been resilient, and I think even with a lead, I would just put it at 50-50. I would flip a coin at this point.
Okay.
All right, Andrew Berkshire, check out his website. It is called habseyesontheprize.com. He is the managing editor over there. It is a great source for Montreal Canadiens news and some really funny stuff there as well. Andrew, thanks so much for jumping on with us. Hopefully we can talk to you again.
Yeah, hopefully we can talk to you. If the series goes 7, we'll talk to you again.
Yeah, how's that sound?
Thanks so much for having me on. It was a joy.
All right, sounds
great.
good. That's Andrew Berkshire. Of course, it's a joy because they won last night.
He's pretty neutral
No, that
guy.
was good.
Yeah,
He
he's
was.
good.
I'll tell you what. Our texters are showing a lot of love for Andrew right there.
No, he's
he's
very
he's humble in victory,
No,
classy in victory.
very analytical.
Yeah, that too.
That's the thing.
And that's
Very
what we shoot
analytical.
for here.
He's
on
not a
Christian
crybaby like you are.
Very good. All right, 603-883-9900, your phone number, 883-9900. Text in 50352. It's Christian and King. We're back after this.
Attention lacrosse fans, the show that you've been waiting for has finally arrived. ESPN New Hampshire presents FNL Lacrosse, live every Sunday morning on 900 and 1250 AM, ESPNNewHampshire.com, and on your smartphone via the ESPN radio app. You'll hear from the top local college and high school players and coaches, plus you'll get the best analysis and even recruiting tips. It's FNL Lacrosse, Sunday mornings at 9 on ESPN New Hampshire.
With 6 New Hampshire locations, Apple Therapy's comprehensive orthopedic rehabilitation clinics offer convenient access to a wide variety of services. At each clinic, Apple Therapy strives to bring relief to patients by assuring the highest level of care in a comfortable environment, and they are networked to most providers and all insurance companies. Apple Therapy will maintain full and open communications between you and your physicians and therapists for your peace of mind. You can find Apple Therapy in Amherst, Bedford, Manchester, Nashua, and online at appletherapy.com.
An ESPN Radio Extra Point with Colin Cowherd.
We all know the NFL is the league of change. They move everything. They don't even care if you have a franchise. They'll move a game to London. They'll move games to Toronto. They've never cared about that. They've got flex scheduling. They've changed rules mid-season. They'll play a Super Bowl in potentially a blizzard. It is the league of change. I got news for you, New York. You're losing the draft. There's a story out that the NFL right now is not renegotiated with New York City, and the draft, you need a room with a stage and 32 phone lines. You can hold that in Nashville, San Diego, Chicago, Phoenix, Minneapolis, and now that they've moved it back to May, weather's not an issue. It's no longer in April where you can get snowed in. It's in May. They're moving that thing.
Hi, you've reached Zach Robinson. I can't get to the phone, but good news. Our Sprint Family Plan has an open spot, and Mom said I get to invite the newest member. You don't have to move in with us if you join, and you can get separate bills. So if you want to save a bunch of money, just answer these questions. How do you talk to girls? Do you go Dutch on a first date? Actually, these don't really matter because just about anyone can join a Sprint Family Plan. But could you do me a solid?
Starting a Sprint Family Plan is easy, and the more people your family adds, the more you save. For a limited time, get the revolutionary new Samsung Galaxy S5 for $0 down and a free Tab 3 when you join a family plan. With better call quality, fewer drop calls, and faster speeds on America's newest network, there's never been a better time to switch. Happy connecting from Sprint.
Offer ends 7/10/14. Maximum plan savings of $30 per line while supplies last. Taxes and surcharges excluded. $0 down plus $27.09 a month for 24 months for well-qualified buyers. Total price $649.99 with 0% APR. If you cancel service, remaining balance on phone becomes due. Tab requires 2-year agreement and data plan. Restrictions apply. See store or sprint.com.
How did I get here? Dumb luck? Or good decisions? About marriage, children, money. About tomorrow.
Who matters most to you says the most about you. At MassMutual, we're owned by our policy owners, and they matter most to us. Learn more at massmutual.com/mutuality. Contact your local financial professional, Terry McMahon of MassMutual Northern New England at 603-623-7236.
Hi, it's Bob from Bob's Discount Furniture, and if I never see another snowflake, it'll be too soon. It was a tough winter, but the day that pitchers and catchers reported, I got spring fever. If you love to put your feet up and enjoy the game, check out my Apollo bonded leather sofa and love seat with 4 built-in recliners. Ultra comfortable with my famous Bobopedic cushions. Only $9.99 for both pieces. Only at my Bob's Discount Furniture and online at mybobs.com.
Life can hit you with the unexpected. The loss of a job, a sudden illness, a dramatic jump in your mortgage payment, leaving you feeling helpless, forcing you to make difficult decisions. If you've fallen behind on your mortgage, are worried about financial problems, or are afraid of foreclosure, it's time to take control. You don't have to lose your home. The National Foundation for Credit Counseling can help. Seek advice from our certified housing counselors today. Call us at 866-687-6322 or visit mortgagehelpnow.org. The National Foundation for Credit Counseling. Real solutions for real people.
The National Foundation for Credit Counseling is a nonprofit organization that has been providing financial counseling and education for 60 years. Our national network of member agencies have helped millions of consumers with foreclosure prevention. NFCC member agencies are approved by the U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development.
This is ESPN New Hampshire, honored by the New Hampshire Association of Broadcasters as the best station for breaking sports news and best station for live play-by-play in 2013. This is ESPN New Hampshire. ESPN New Hampshire Sports Center.
After losing 4 straight games, the New Hampshire Fisher Cats have now won 2 games, and they will go for the sweep tonight against Binghamton at home. The first pitch is at 5:35.
At Oyster River last night, fans saw the country's longest active winning streak extend to 49 games as the Bedford Bulldogs dominated their hosts 21-2 in varsity lacrosse. Now they will go for 50 against Londonderry on the road tonight. It has been 8 years since Grady Sizemore was Mr. Clutch for any team. Then late last night in the bottom of the 12th inning, this is what happened.
Here's the set. The pitch. He swings and drives one high and deep left center field, back by the wall, and it is off the wall, the base of the wall. Here comes Ortiz with a winning run, and Grady Sizemore has ended it with a walk-off shot off the base of the web sign in deep left center field, and the Red Sox win it 4-3.
That's Joe Castiglione on the Red Sox Radio Network. The defending champs can get back to 500 with a win tonight. You can hear the call of the game, as always, starting right here with Red Sox pregame at 6:25 on ESPN New Hampshire. And after failing to complete a comeback for the second time in 3 games, the Boston Bruins now face a must-win situation in Game 4 tomorrow night in Montreal. I'm Tom Rowe. The SportsCenter Update is brought to you by Bud Light, a proud sponsor of the Boston Red Sox. Is Bud Light, the sure sign of a good time.
This is the sports station with granite roots. This is ESPN New Hampshire. Christian and King.
All right, it's Christian and King here, 603-883-9900. That's your phone number, 883-9900. Talk some more Bruins. We'll get to the Patriots and some draft talk as well before we bring on Mike Loiko at 2:05. Big thanks to Andrew Berkshire from Eyes Habs on the Prize.
Rowe called it a must-win, which technically, yeah, I guess you could say so, but...
He called Game 4 a must-win?
I've seen teams
He loves throwing his opinion into the sports fight.
Well, I've seen teams down 3-1 in hockey come back.
Yeah.
They don't do it in basketball. They do it in hockey. They don't do it so much in basketball.
No, it's rare in basketball.
But they do it in hockey. In fact, I saw the Bruins.
3-1 is, yeah. That's...
I thought I saw the Bruins give up a 3-1 series lead against a Montreal Canadian team.
Yeah, in 08, right?
Who was coached by Claude Julien, I believe.
2008?
Yep.
Yeah, I think
no, not 2008. 2000. I'm talking about the win by Montreal right before the lockout in 2004, in April of 04.
Yeah.
Joe
the 08
Thornton,
team, it was
Joe
Carbonneau.
Joe Thornton had torn rib ligaments, and everybody was on Thornton for not playing well, and it turned out he was hurt.
Right.
And he was playing hurt, and the Bruins had a 3-1 lead, and just like P.K. Subban owns this series, a guy by the name of Alexei Kovalev had taken over that series from Montreal, and they won 3 straight and won the series and won a Game 7 in Boston.
Yeah.
So, there you go.
Koivu on that team? Saku Koivu? Yeah, go away. What are you doing?
Yeah, what are you doing, Ro? Come on.
Why is everybody just hanging out here?
I know.
Like, this is like an office.
Koivu on a team? No, I don't think so. I don't know if he was. He
04?
might have been. He might have been on that team.
I feel like he was. Maybe not. Anyways. Yeah. Kovalev, yeah, I remember Kovalev having a big series.
Oh, yeah, Kovalev had a big series.
Was that the series, and maybe this was like 02 or 03. When was the series when Kyle McLaren just absolutely destroyed, I forget who he hit, but he hit somebody on Montreal.
I think that was the series.
It was that same series?
Yeah, because McLaren wasn't with the Bruins after that. I think a couple years later.
I feel like he wasn't with them after 02 or 03.
Oh,
maybe not.
Yeah,
maybe it was like 01.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know.
2000, 2001. Did they play each other in the playoffs then?
I've covered a couple of them.
Because I remember McLaren absolutely just pummeled somebody.
I've covered one where Therrien beat him as a coach and where Julien beat him as a coach.
Yeah.
So,
all right. Richard Zednik, maybe?
Yeah, Zednik might have been.
Yeah, I think it was a hit on Zednik.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah. And that was that. That was 2002, I think. That was the 01-02 season.
Maybe.
And he just destroyed him.
But I just remember that playoff series. Mike Sullivan was the Bruins coach.
Okay.
And they had a good year. I think they were the second best team in the conference. Andrew Raycroft was the goalie.
Raycroft, yeah. Samsonov was on that team.
Oh,
and
yeah.
Anson Carter and all those guys.
It was Thornton and Thornton was
Jason Allison.
Thornton was up. I don't know if Allison was on that team.
Maybe.
He might have been gone by then.
He could have been, yeah.
I think Sinden banished him after in the early 2000s.
They traded him to the Kings, didn't they?
Yeah, they did.
I think he got traded. Yeah, that's how that worked.
Yeah, they did.
Yeah.
They traded him to the Kings and got. Did they get Ranford back? They might have gotten Ranford back. I'm not sure.
Did someone just drop this in here?
Yes, Rowe did.
Oh, Rowe did.
Yep.
How did he do that?
I don't know. He sidles up to you.
He's like a ninja.
He sidles up to you.
All right, I think that's, I don't know what line this is. Line 3, I guess. All right, Ray is in Manchester. Hi, Ray.
Hi, how are you?
What's up, Ray? How you doing?
Good. Hey, listen, the guy from Montreal kind of explained, you talked about the cheating and the officials being selected that come from Boston, doing a Boston series.
Mm-hmm.
You know, ever since the Donaghy situation in the NBA, he was fixing games.
Yeah, Tim Donaghy. Yeah, sure, okay. Yep.
Okay, that's where you could call it cheating.
Okay, fixing game. Right, all right.
But no official goes through the professional schools and everything with the idea that he's going to be one side or the other. He may miss a call, or he may blow a call, as people think, but nobody's doing it intentionally, and they watch that very closely, Christian.
Yeah, no, I never said anything otherwise. I don't think that Rooney is out there calling games in favor of or against the Bruins. What I do think he does sometimes is goes out of his way to look like he's not calling them for the Bruins because, you know, he's a guy from Boston. But I mean, in South Boston, people don't like Rooney. I mean, they don't think that he's in there in the bag for the Bruins at all. That's all I was saying.
Well, yeah, but don't forget, when you start in that profession, you're going to be 50% right, or you're going to be 50% wrong.
Sure, yeah.
Yeah, but Ray, do you think it's fair to assign? I've had this problem before, even not so much, I don't think, with umpires, maybe with basketball or football refs. And I know you've done a lot of officiating over the years. I just don't think it's a good idea to assign an official to a game, especially in a Stanley Cup playoffs, to a game involving his hometown team.
Well, the only split that goes there is, first of all, you can never work a game with a kin, some relationship, family relationship in the game.
Right. That should always be right. Exactly.
Okay, that's eliminated, but you can't eliminate the towns and cities that happen, because don't forget, if Rooney's got a rating big enough to be working in these series,
yep,
then you can't take them out of it. If they start doing it, you're going to get complaints from everybody. Oh, well, he calls, and I think the guy from Montreal explained it pretty good on the penalties that were, 50% against 51.6?
Right.
So, I mean, no official, unless he's crooked, is going to show up that badly, and if he does, Tom, it would be caught much sooner by the supervisors of the officials.
I think you're right.
No, you're right. I think everybody is misinterpreting what I'm saying. Yeah. I don't want to put the official in the position to have someone say that, that they're either showing favoritism or leaning against favoritism. Yeah. I wouldn't want to put that official in that position. I would assign him elsewhere where he's not in that position. You see what I mean?
Yeah, but when you do that, it's just like when you get a bad report from a team.
Right.
And they say, well, we don't like Tom King umpiring our games or officiating
right.
Or doing a radio show on our airwaves.
Right. Nobody likes it when I cover him or write him. Exactly.
Right.
Well, I'm going to cover that at the end. The radio show is down the bottom of the ladder today.
Right.
But
that's
no,
a good thing.
We could do when a guy gets rated highly.
Right.
It's very difficult to judge to him and say, well, I'm not going to assign you to a Nashua game because you live in Nashua, but I'm going to send you up to Pittsburgh, New Hampshire.
True.
I mean, yeah, okay.
True.
Again, if they do that, and without bringing the family or anything, you're right when most assigners try to avoid that if they can.
Yes, if they can.
But at the same time, a guy like Hockley in football or some of the others, if they're that good, they've got to prove during the year they're good in San Francisco, they're good in Memphis. Do you follow me?
Yeah, I hear what you're saying.
Yeah,
Right.
and you could do it, but sometimes what happens, Tom, when you try to avoid those situations, you overload in another area.
Yeah.
Right.
So I hear what you're saying.
It's kind of difficult. I mean, if you had 20 guys from Boston, you only had 2 from Montreal, well, you were going to run into that problem somehow. If you make it to the top in a professional officiating situation, you got to be pretty good.
All right, Ray, thanks for the call.
Okay, guys.
All right,
That's right.
Ray in Manchester checking in there. Let's go back to the phone lines right now.
Oh my
Eric.
goodness, what have you done here? You
Eric
caused
is in
a
Manchester.
storm.
Hi. Eric is not in Manchester. Eric was in Manchester.
Eric does not like being put on
Eric,
hold.
no, he doesn't. Well, it's not my fault. Ray called in first.
I know. No, Eric does
I
not.
had to get to
Eric.
Ray.
Eric is at a point where
Eric
I think,
has no time for our crap.
no,
is what the
none.
point is
I
here,
think
yeah.
Eric is at a point now where if he calls, he expects to come on.
Let's talk
right
to Eric.
away.
Hi, Eric. Oh, really? That's interesting, Eric. What else did you do today? Wow, Eric, how about that? That's amazing. You hear this? You hear this, Tom King? Eric
This is
I'm just kidding.
Is that it?
We'll drop that there. Eric,
right.
Eric hung up.
Eric hung up.
I got the note right here saying Eric in
Eric in
Manchester. Line
Manchester.
1. I hit line 1. Eric's gone. Eric's in the wind.
Gone.
Eric is not waiting around for us. Sorry, Eric. I would have put you right on. It's just we had another call. That's all.
Oh, boy.
Yesterday, it was my bad the other day when it was right before the commercial, but that was because I didn't get the note in time.
You
So,
got the note in time.
What?
You got the note in time.
The last time?
Oh, yeah, you did.
No, I didn't.
You did.
I did not. We had to go to commercial, and I
No,
realized
no.
it was there, and it was too late.
No, you got the note in time.
I didn't, actually.
You did. You just forgot about him.
No, I didn't.
Yeah, you did.
I didn't
No,
know
you
it was
forgot
there.
about him. You
Because
knew
Tom
it.
Rowe came in like a
You
ninja, and he dropped it down there, and I didn't see it.
No, you forgot about him.
I've had enough out of you, Tom King. 603-883-9900. Your phone number, 883-9900. Text in. But shut up, Tom.
I'm sorry, Eric. I can't.
503-52.
Eric, I apologize for him. All right. I mean, what can I say, Eric?
Hey, if Eric could maybe wait 2 minutes and we could put him on the
He's
air.
gotta catch a bus.
All right.
You know, this is.
Well, we
critical.
can't do the
He's-
show around
he's
Eric's
he
minute-to-minute
is a
schedule here,
man
can we?
He's a man about town.
I know
now,
that.
You know.
But I'm sorry, we can't just build the show around Eric's. Maybe he'll call.
Why
maybe he
not?
won't.
He's an Arbitron guy.
I know. Well, he was. I don't know if he's still.
He probably this is twice they've done it. Are you kidding me?
And we're keeping him on hold.
I know.
We're gonna take a big
Are
rating.
you a
hit.
nut?
I know.
You can't do that. You
I
kidding
did.
me?
But hey, I had Ray, and then
We're
Eric
gonna
called
get
in
a
afterwards.
minus rating. We're not even gonna. We're gonna get a minus rating now.
Maybe.
Oh my gosh.
We'll see.
Jeez.
I know. Sorry, Eric. Call back. 603-883-9900. Your phone number, 883-9900. My text board now is Eric has moved on to the Jim C show. Oh, I guess he's been calling Jim. Eric's been calling in to Jim.
Jim who?
Jim who? Jim Sensabella.
Oh, that Jim. Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't make the connection. I'm sorry.
What Jim?
What Jim? Who's Jim?
Jungle
who?
Jim Luskatoff.
Oh,
That's
okay,
it.
there you go.
Jim Thorpe.
I thought you were talking about the other guy that texts in all the time. That Jim.
Oh,
You
Jim
know, who we
Akers?
had-
No,
yeah,
no,
who
no.
we had- who we
Although
had
I
on.
think Jim Akers may have sent the text letting us know about that, so that's possible.
Oh, okay.
All right, 603-883-9900 is your phone number, 883-9900. Text in 50352. We'll be right back, and we'll talk some NFL draft with you, as we've not talked about that much at all today at all. And Mike Loico's coming on at 2 o'clock, so we want to be nice and warmed up for Loico when he comes on and starts dropping his draft knowledge bombs all over the place, because that's what he does. He is a knowledge bomb dropping dude.
This is his time.
It is. This is
what he does.
This is, like General Patton has his war to shine in. Larry Bird at the time when you get the ball at the end of the game. Mike Loico, NFL draft time, same
come
thing.
back. Well, I'll have the draft the draft is a sports phenomenon.
It
in
is.
the NFL.
It certainly
is.
is.
It is a sport, and we'll talk about why when we come back.
And Tom King also hates it. We'll find out why he hates it, too. Why it's a phenomenon and why he hates the phenomenon.
Yep.
All of that next. Don't go anywhere. It's Christian and King.
I'm Will Selva with NFL Network Now on the Westwood One Radio Network. At a press conference Tuesday, Cowboys owner Jerry Jones fielded questions about the upcoming 2014 NFL Draft, and one reporter asked if the Cowboys would consider picking Johnny Manziel if he slipped to them. Here's what Jones had to say about the potential of drafting the Texas A&M product.
We would not in any way speculate specifically about any player. I will go as far as to say it is not our primary goal in the first round to be looking at a quarterback.
NFL media insider Ian Rappaport is reporting that the Lions and Bills are teams that have discussed trading up into the top 10 with Clemson receiver Sammy Watkins as the target. Detroit spent more time with Watkins than anybody else on his pro day. And speaking of trading up, Ian also reporting that the Jets are now making calls to trade up, possibly into the top 10, with LSU wide receiver Odell Beckham being the potential target. This has been NFL Network Now on the Westwood One Radio Network.
Napa know-how. Grab a Napa bucket for $2.99, and everything you fit in it is 20% off. What can you fit in the bucket? A radiator? No. 10 oil filters and 756 pine tree air fresheners? With some elbow grease, maybe. Get your Napa bucket today and save 20% off everything you pack in it. Conquer the job with Napa know-how. Some exclusions apply at participating Napa Auto Parts stores while supplies last. Offer expires 5/31/14.
A click. A single click of the mouse. It seems harmless. But what is a click, really? A click is a decision. A click can buy, send, agree, decline, cancel. A click can say I trust you, or I don't. The click is a powerful thing, and anyone could compromise your personal information. So make the one click that can help protect you. Go to IdentityGuard.com/free for a free trial. Identity Guard, because it doesn't take much.
There is nothing like your independently owned and operated meat house on Route 101A in Amherst. Hey, it's Tom King, and as you all know, I love food. And if you haven't been to the Amherst Meat House, then you are missing out on the revival of the neighborhood butcher. The selections of their delicious meats and cheeses are out of this world, and their spectacular customer service will guarantee your next meal to be a gourmet experience. So take a trip to the locally owned and operated Amherst Meat House on Route 101A in Amherst, taking pride in the local community.
Bedford Ambulatory Surgical Centers are state-of-the-art ambulatory surgical centers where surgeons perform a broad range of outpatient surgical procedures, everything from orthopedic and sports medicine to gastroenterology and neurology. Their centers offer a safe, convenient, high-quality, and lower-cost alternative to inpatient hospitalization. For more information, log on to bedfordsurgical.com or call them at 603-622-3670. That's 603-622-3670. Bedford Ambulatory Surgical Centers. High-quality care at a reasonable price.
You've walked through 18 open houses, your feet hurt, and your head is buzzing. Living in a van is starting to sound strangely appealing, but then you hear it. The sound of hope, of Zillow. You glance at your phone to see a 3-bedroom Craftsman in the right school district. It's perfect, and it just showed up on your phone, like magic. So sign up for mobile alerts, and we'll send you homes that fit your criteria when they hit the market. And to think, you wanted to live in a van. Zillow. Find your way home.
This is ESPN New Hampshire, honored by the New Hampshire Association of Broadcasters as the best station for breaking sports news and best station for live play-by-play in 2013. This is ESPN New Hampshire. ESPN New Hampshire Sports Center.
It was a poor effort from the start and ended up costing the Bruins in Game 3 last night, now trailing 2-1 in the series. Johnny Boychuk talked to the media and says the focus now has to be going into Game 4 to not play from behind.
You don't want to be down every third period. I mean, you want to be going into the third period with the lead. And we're doing a good job by coming back, but we can't be shooting ourselves in the foot right off the hop.
Game 4 starts tomorrow night at the Bell Center. It took 12 innings to get it done, but the Red Sox improved to 16-17 on the year with a win over the Reds. In Game 2 tonight, Jake Peavy will take to the mound against Cincinnati. You can hear the call of the game right here, starting with Red Sox pregame at 6:25, always on ESPN New Hampshire. And the longest active winning streak in the country continues. The Bedford Bulldogs dominated Oyster River last night, 21-2 in high school lacrosse. They have now won 49 straight games and will go for number 50 tonight against Londonderry. I'm Tom Rowe. The SportsCenter update is brought to you by Infinity of Nashua, the official luxury car of the Boston Red Sox. You can find them online at infinityofnashua.com.
Christian and King on ESPN New Hampshire, 603-883-9900.
Breakdowns that we gave those plays, it can't happen. They're going to make you pay if you're not aware, and it's about doing a better job.
(603-883-9900). That's your phone number, 883-9900. Text in 50352. That was the voice of Patrice Bergeron there. We'll get back to the Bruins in a little bit.
We had a good day. Let's see. You ticked off one listener who was so mad he called up.
Yeah.
You ignored another one.
Right.
You're whining about the Bruins.
I had a nice chat with the Canadian
You
fellow.
threatened me physically.
I did.
Yeah, you're having a real good day.
Yeah. I don't respond to the Bruins losses very well.
No, you don't.
Yeah.
That's why I think the Bruins better win on Thursday, because I'm going to be really tired on Friday because I'll have a late night Thursday night at the draft.
Oh, yeah, right.
That's why I hate the draft. I don't like the night stuff.
Yeah, maybe Friday we actually will fight each other. If the Bruins lose and there's a long...
I'll be too tired.
You'll be too tired?
Oh,
You'll
yeah,
be cranky, though.
Nah, I won't get... I don't
Cranky
get
King, I've seen Cranky King. He'll throw bows.
Nah, I won't. I'll just be like, yeah, whatever. Yeah.
All right. Well, Thursday, the draft begins. Tom, you are going to be down in Foxborough. And you wanted to tell me why this NFL draft is such a spectacle.
Well,
a phenomenon.
A
spectacular phenomenon.
Well, here's what it is. All right?
Yes.
What other sports draft creates full, and I mean this, and Loico is one of them, creates full-time careers
It's true, yeah.
based on one event.
Mm-hmm.
What other sports draft does it? The WNBA? I don't think so.
The only one closest is regular NBA, and that's the only thing that's
That's
close.
not-
And they're
no,
not in the same universe
Not
as
even,
the NFL
not even
draft.
that. Not
Yeah.
even that. Is there anybody who full-time is an NBA draft guy? No.
Not that I can. I mean, I'm sure there is, but I don't know.
No.
There's no Mel Kiper of the
The
NBA.
reason is football is so popular. That's number one. The second reason is you could be drafted in a middle round and still be an impact player.
Right. There's also 7 rounds.
Right. There's
and
7
there's
rounds.
2 rounds
Right.
of the
Well, they used to be-
NBA draft.
They used to be like
They used to have a ton,
4
yeah.
or 5 in the NBA draft too. But I mean,
And in
this is-
baseball, there's like 47 rounds, and none of these guys ever play. So it's like
Kuiper Jr. started it.
Yeah.
He started the full-time phenomenon. And then all of a sudden, all these websites and the internet and everything else and magazines, these career people, this is their job.
Mm-hmm.
I cover the NBA, the NFL draft. Oh, when does it happen? Once a year. But that's my job.
Yeah.
Full time.
And what are you doing the rest of the year?
Well, we cover the NFL draft
all year, yeah.
There are mock drafts that are coming out for next year's draft. It's
Mm-hmm.
ridiculous. It is a full-time career for people. It is a phenomena unheard of
Yeah.
in sports.
True.
Unbelievable.
Yeah. Combine. You know?
Oh,
Think of all the people who cover the combine.
I know.
Can you imagine any other sport having them cover workouts like that? In the NBA? I mean, going into like the Atlanta Hawks like team workouts? And
Nobody
saying,
covered
okay,
our pilot show.
No one, yeah.
You know? This is unbelievable.
Or baseball, you know?
Oh, God. Oh, there's trial camps all over the country in baseball.
Yeah. There's no one thing. There's no like MLB combine or anything like that. But if there was, can you imagine people covering it? No one would care. Here's part of it. There's 2 things. One is that college football is so popular that, and you say, well, college basketball is too to those same people, and I would agree with that. But with football, there's so many positions, and there's so many rounds, and there's just so many guys getting drafted who very well could be that next year an impact player or someone on the team who you see out there actually contributing.
53 guys on a roster. That's
Right.
why.
You know, so I mean that's a much bigger deal. In the NBA, there's 12 guys on the team.
But
you could draft a player in the NBA, you get 1, maybe 2 players, and you're lucky if one of them ends up as a 8th man on your roster.
Here's the deal. The reason this is all coming about is gambling.
Oh.
Football.
Go on.
Football.
Yeah.
Is college football and pro football is they take more action on that than anything else.
Mm-hmm.
It is incredibly. There are tons of money invested in this thing.
Yeah, but what's that have to do with the draft, though?
Because
what?
Because that's why you don't understand. That's why football
Well, then
is.
explain it to me. I'm asking.
Yeah,
What does
that's
that
why
have
football. You start with the gambling. It makes it incredibly popular because people are betting their fortunes on some of this stuff, and then it moves on to how my team is going to do, and how my team is going to do is basically because of the draft.
People don't gamble on March Madness?
Well, they do, but it's not
more than they do in college bowl season. I think
college football.
Tom, everybody in the world gambles in March Madness.
College football and pro football is that is the heaviest thing.
No one bets on pro basketball.
No.
That's it.
No, that's it. But it's incredible.
Some people do, but it's not like
it's too much of it. It's not. This is too because these games are once a week.
Mm-hmm.
And you can dissect and bisect everything during that period of time. And that's why.
Yeah.
It's all because of the gambling. And the dollar's invested.
Yeah.
The gambling makes the sport more popular, makes it more widely watched, makes it more of a TV sport, brings in more advertising, creates more interest, and then it funnels over into the draft. That's why.
Yeah. It's true.
How about that for the thinking cap analysis here?
It's fine analysis.
But
Yeah.
that's what it is.
But then again, I mean, it's the most popular sport in the country. Naturally, it'll probably have the most popular draft. The NBA draft for a long time.
But we're talking about full-time
draft. No, that's
employment.
true, yeah.
Based
and in
on
this day and
one
age,
event.
Yeah, in this day and age, that's not quite as ridiculous as if that was something that was happening in the 80s. In the 80s, if there was full-time NFL draft people, there weren't back then. I mean, this is a fairly recent
What
thing.
other sport do you see people bet on preseason games? You see lines on preseason games.
Well, there's some very sick people who are betting
exactly,
who are
but
betting on preseason
exactly,
games.
but that's what it breeds.
Those are people who are like, 2 interventions ago should have been.
I know, but
Yeah.
still, it's a reality. It's the reality. It's the reality.
Texter says, Tom, be careful what you're saying. Signed Bruno Three Fingers Finelli.
I know, right? Exactly.
It's true, though. I mean, I don't think you're wrong. I don't. I think that's it is definitely a phenomenon, and the reason why there are so many people who cover these things, I think, is in part because of the popularity of the NFL and the NFL and the NCAA football. College football is huge in a lot of places in the country. And I guess another part of it is I think that what sort of brings this together, and this is a theory I've actually had for a while here, is that when you think about places in the country where college football really reigns supreme, you think about places like Nebraska and you think about Oklahoma and you think about, even Texas to a certain extent, even though they have their pro teams. But generally, the places where they're the craziest about it are places where there aren't necessarily a lot of there isn't a big professional sports presence. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, exactly.
Like LSU, they have the New Orleans Pelicans and they have the Saints, but that's it.
No, the college football team is
football team in a lot of places.
Team. It is the pro team in that town.
Boise State. I mean, come on.
It's the pro team in that town.
It's all over the place.
Oh, sure.
This is very, very common. So when they bring the NFL draft to New York City, and you got these Jets fans in there booing because they don't know who this offensive lineman from Arkansas is, it sort of brings this clash of the. It's sort of like it's like a civil war, football fans.
It's great stuff.
And that's my favorite part about it.
Oh, it's great stuff.
Is when you have these Yankee sports fans, these Eagles fans and all these fans, and they don't know who the hell that guy is that they just hit, but that guy is like the hero of Little Rock, Arkansas, and they're saying, "You mean you don't know Cletus McJoseph?" It's like it's
all
great.
territorial.
That's what I really like about it.
It's all territorial.
Yeah, totally. I mean, that's a big thing.
But it's just incredible. I mean, it's just hours of my life I never get back, I mean, for anybody for anybody. And it's always on a nice sunny spring afternoon. The draft used to be during the day on Saturday. It used to start at noon on Saturday. Before that, I've covered it where it started the night before. It started at 5 o'clock on a Sunday and would go into the next day on a Monday. Mm-hmm. But now, because it is such a phenomena, the networks, ESPN and the NFL, smartly, with the NFL Network, smartly made the first round a primetime event, the second and third round a primetime event.
Yeah.
And I don't think that they're too thrilled about doing it in May, extending the interest, because I think that there's a lot they have to go up against in terms of pro sports with the playoffs and the other sports. And playoffs are just starting in the other sports. If they had it the last weekend in April, so it's a little different.
Yeah.
So, and I know that there's a little bit of controversy over the Radio City Music Hall thing where they booked an event and they canceled it in March. But if you're in the NFL, you're not going to all of a sudden move the draft up on a month's notice with people. You can't do that. There's too many things involved. All right. So now, what will they do next year? Will they hold it in May? I bet they don't. I bet they go back to April.
They should.
I think they should, too.
That's when it should be.
Yeah, I know it. But, I mean, the last weekend in April. You're also tinkering with Easter weekend and the holidays, depending on when Easter is. So that's all. They always try to avoid that, so it changes every once in a while. But I don't know if they really want to hold it this late in May. But they've dragged it out into 3 days. And I'm telling you, you get people who will watch all three.
Right.
They will. It's unbelievable. And the thing is, all this instant analysis and everything else, you really don't know. I mean, how do you know how your team did? You know, I mean,
you don't, but you pretend you do.
You don't, and I'm telling you
Next
what.
day.
I'm telling you what. There's a lot.
Who
more.
is Gronkowski and
There's
Hernandez? They're screwed.
There's a lot more wasted draft picks in the NFL than there are in a lot of other sports. Well,
That's
baseball
true.
maybe a lot too. But
No, I'd say baseball's probably the most.
Yeah, but you have to stock your minor league team, so you
Yeah.
need those players. They just don't last.
Right.
Football, these guys, you know, they don't last after a year or two because they stink.
Right.
You know, not because you don't have room for them on your roster.
Or they don't play the game the right way.
Yeah, that's true.
Or they kill somebody.
Oh, they kill somebody.
That
That's
too.
right, yeah.
All right, 2 hours down. We got 1 hour to go here. Mike Loiko of AnyPatriotsDraft.com will join us when we return at the top of the hour. Want to once again say thanks to Andrew Berkshire from Habs Eyes on the Prize for talking to us this past hour. Mike Loiko at the top. Keep it right here. It's Christian and King.
Our hosts can be a little nuts.